Hi everyone, in today's video we are talking all things Yule and Winter Solstice. We're going to be looking at celebrations, activities, folklore, magical correspondences. So if that is of interest to you, then please stay tuned. We are going to be delving into a winter wonderland and covering hopefully everything you need to get ready for the winter season. So welcome back everybody, thank you for watching. I'm Wren, I'm the Cemetery Witch, and today we are talking about Yule and the Winter Solstice. Now I just want to put in a little disclaimer to this video. I am videoing this in December, so it is very possible that I might get a knock on the door. The poor old postie has been super busy delivering everybody's parcels, and my husband orders a lot online, so it'll be very apt and very sort of appropriate if we get a knock on the door. I'm hoping I can get away with recording this without that happening, but if it does, we're just gonna chalk it down to being that time of the year. This is a seasonal channel where we talk about seasonal things. If you do watch the Witching Week, which we have every Friday, where we look at the events of the week before and the events of the week to come, and we discuss the changing of the seasons and things like that, you'll know that I have not managed to get this video done and out in the time that I would like to because I contracted COVID. This might not come out until after Yule. I really hope I can squeeze it out before then, but my plan was to release this in November, so you'd have plenty of time to prepare and celebrate and plan and stuff. But if not, you can watch it ahead of next year. So personally, Yule is one of my favourite sort of moments and celebrations and festivities in the wheel of the year. Now I absolutely love celebrating the peak light and energy and warmth of summer. Summer is my favourite season, early summer, late spring. I absolutely love the summer. But the summer solstice celebrations for me are really, really bittersweet. There's, it is a great time of happiness and celebration and joy, but it is tinged with sadness because I know that the days are going to start to draw in and we are moving into the darker half of the year. Not so for the winter solstice. It is pure celebration. The light is coming back, the warmth, the energy, those feel-good months of the summer. Now I know that many of you prefer autumn and winter, and that of course that's absolutely fine, but for me personally, I get excited about this part of the year. And the winter solstice is when the earth is tilted away from the sun and the sun is at its lowest point in our sky. So this is why it's really, really hard to drive during the winter. You get dazzled, don't you, by the sun being really, really low. So this is a festival of rebirth, the return of the sun. The sun is born, and the winter solstice falls during the festival period of Yule, which was celebrated or is celebrated by Northern Europeans. So the word Yule is a Norwegian word. It means wheel and it refers to the sun. And people believe that this was a big fiery wheel, and that when we got to the solstice, that this wheel would stop rolling. So we do have a standstill at the winter solstice and at the summer solstice. Obviously, when we're celebrating winter solstice, our southern hemisphere brothers and sisters are celebrating summer solstice, and there is a period of standstill. So we have the shortest day up here, they have the longest day, and that length of day and night will remain the same for a few days. And then when we get to roughly the 25th, 26th of December, it depends where the solstice has fallen in the year, in the month, because the date changes, it's a movable feast. Then when we get to about the 25th or the 26th, the amount of daylight we have will start to increase just a little bit at a time. It might be 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and then eventually we're rolling on to minutes gained. But then, the sun is born. So you may have heard that term referred to, the sun is born, in another context. But that is what happens at the winter solstice. So the days will start to increase in length, and solstice means sun standstill. So it's this standstill of time. So in the 10th century, the king of Norway, King Haakon, he moved the festival of Yule to coincide, or these celebrations around this time to coincide with the birth of Jesus. He was called Haakon Haraldsson. I'm sorry if I have pronounced that wrong. And he was king of Norway from 934 to 961. So he attempted to bring Christianity to Norway, and then Yule, the period of Yule, this celebration of Yule, started to be referred to as Christmas. I thought we'd look at what this festival actually means to pagans. It's a funny one, because at the winter solstice we are looking forward to the lightening days, the days getting warmer and longer. Obviously it's a slow process, but we're about to enter the darkest part of winter, certainly here in the UK. January, February, March, they're hard months. March can go either way. That can be quite warm, and that can be, definitely a feeling that spring's in the air, or it can still be very, very wintry. We know at the winter solstice we have this last little push. And then we will come out of winter. We're going to move towards those lighter, brighter days. So we're moving back towards the light. Once we've had the winter solstice, we're moving into what's considered the lighter half of the year, the lighter part of the year. So winter it should be a period of rest and regeneration and rebirth. It's known as the cauldron of regeneration, and it's not so much of a beginning, it's definitely more a rebirth. So if you think about your seeds that you've planted, they have, over the winter period, they have been germinating, and they are cultivating, and they are getting ready to spring out of the ground and start to grow and blossom and flower. It's a very interesting time spiritually. We go inwards in the winter, and it's naturally a time where we start to sort of think about and plan and ruminate on things that we want to birth a bit later on in the year. So this is a huge time of celebration, as I have mentioned. Many witches choose to bring the outside in at this point. So there are lots of evergreens that are associated with this time of year that represent eternal life. So for example, holly, ivy, mistletoe, phetinia, yew, cedar, and this is the commencement of the growing season. I've just spoken about how this is a time of year for sort of nurturing and germinating and kind of being pregnant with, ideas and plans and all the things that we want to achieve later on when we have a bit more energy and a bit more sort of movement and growth and light. So this is a huge celebration for many, many pagans. This is, for many pagans, one of their major festivals. It's an absolutely wonderful time, I think, and it's a time for stories. I was talking about this with my best friend. We feel that actually Yule is a time for ghost stories, perhaps more than Samhain. When you think of A Christmas Carol and you think about the reflection that happens in that and the reflection of one's behaviour and deeds, and it's a time where we're thinking of others and we're looking after others, and therefore we're reflecting on what we have and what we don't have and our ability to do that. It's an absolutely brilliant time for ghost stories, because it's when we think about these loved ones that have passed over, perhaps that we've honoured at Samhain and we've spoken about at Samhain, but this time when we're missing people, we concentrate on Yule being a moment of celebration with families and with the people we love, but actually I think because of that it's a time where we think about people that we love and we think about the ghosts of the past, we think about deeds, and it's a very, very interesting time. Some like to tell stories of the Oak and Holly King. These are two brothers who battle to decide who will take the crown for the light half of the year and the dark half of the year. So at Yule, the Oak King, who is the king of the lighter half, He is Lord of Summer and he wins the crown. So he represents light, expansion, growth. He is connected to that growing season and he takes the throne at a time of increasing light. So there are various variations of this story. Some people believe that the battle happens on the summer solstice and on the winter solstice, but there are other variations of this story where they actually have those battles at the spring equinox and the autumn equinox. So that's when they have the fight and when they win the fight, and then they actually take the throne a little bit later on. So for example, the Oak King would win the fight at the autumn equinox and then he would take the throne actually at the winter solstice. And that kind of makes a lot of sense in many ways, doesn't it? If you had some sort of battle or some sort of decision that was made for an oak to be crowned and to, you know, even upon a death, when I'm thinking about the death of Queen Elizabeth, it's a little bit of time before the king, all right, he does become the king. When she died, he did, but there is a period of time where things are prepared and before he was officially sort of exclaimed as the king. So I actually like that version. For some people, they like the battle on the solstice and then there is that immediate commencement of that reign, but I quite like the idea of it happening a little bit of time before. It makes a lot of sense. So a tradition at this time of year is the Yule Log. This is a widely celebrated tradition, and the log itself is usually ash, but it could be oak or it could be some sort of fruit wood. It's considered unlucky to purchase the log. This tradition goes back hundreds of years, and ideally you would be given the log or you would go out and find it, and it would be harvested from the property or gifted, and it was brought home in a horse-drawn cart, and there was much fanfare and celebrations surrounding this moment. The log would be decorated and people would be singing and dancing, and it would be placed in the fireplace and it would be lit with a piece of the previous year's log. And again, there are different traditions that vary from area to area and family to family as to whether that log would burn for 12 hours or maybe even 12 days. And of course that would depend on the size of it. So if you wanted to burn it for 12 days, you would have to pick a really massive log, wouldn't you? If you only wanted to burn it for 12 hours, then you wouldn't need such a large log, although you would still need quite a substantial log to burn for 12 hours even. So, but a piece would always be kept for the following year. There are lots of lovely traditional activities that you can do at this time of year. Obviously, you can go out and find a Yule log and decorate that and celebrate that and try and incorporate that old tradition into your new ones. You could decorate the Yule tree, set up a Yule altar and decorate that. You could go caroling. You could make some orange slice decorations. You could either make a garland or even put them on your sort of presents that you've wrapped, or you could make them into hangers for the Yule tree. You could greet the sun at dawn, very, very popular. Not just because we're celebrating the return of the sun, but because at the winter solstice it's dark quite late into the morning, so you don't have to get up super early to be able to do this, and most people can manage to incorporate this, you know, into their working routine, into their family routine without too much trouble. Cooking at this time of year is a great idea, like cookies and cakes and mince pies and all things festive, cozying up and watching films. Giving a gift, usually most people just give a simple gift at Yule, just one per person, and I really like that simplicity. It's quite often something that's been handmade. You could do a random act of kindness or some sort of act of service or give to charity at this time of year. This is a time when we should be looking after others in our community. It's the winter, we should be helping one another through. Hanging mistletoe and going in for a kiss under the mistletoe. Obviously make sure that the person you're kissing wants to be kissed, and you could easily make and hang a wreath. It would not take much at all to create a beautiful looking wreath. Go out for a walk, go into your garden. You might have everything you need in your garden, a bit of holly, a bit of photinia, a bit of cedar or some leaves or something. You could make up a really beautiful wreath for your front door, or to go around the base of a candle. I think this is actually the easiest time to come up with magical correspondences and for ideas for your, decorating your altar and perhaps for spell work. There is a lot of symbolic things going on, and you're probably using a lot of these correspondences actually in your sort of like normal, mundane, everyday life in terms of being connected to this season. So if we look at the colours of this time, we're looking at your red, your green, your silver, your gold, your white, winter colours, blue, silver, things that are sparkly. In terms of incense, again, they're very much connected to this season. So we're looking at cinnamon, cloves, frankincense, myrrh, mint, pine. So it's really, really easy, I think, if you want to do some seasonal magic or some seasonal nature magic. There is an awful lot of that's going on. We can use the seasonal plants and trees that are common at this time of year, so holly, ivy, bay, mistletoe, phitinia, nutmeg, oak, pine, rosemary, sage. And the animals connected to this time are the robin, deer, reindeer, wren. Decorations that you can use on your altar or perhaps within your magic, or just any kind of like magical activity, would be bells, candles, elves, evergreens, goddess figures, holly, ivy, lights, mistletoe, reindeer, snowflakes, stags, suns, suncross, trees, wreaths, and of course the Yule Log. And the next turn of the wheel is going to be Imbolg. And this is a time where the promise of the light at winter solstice is just starting to be made known. It will show itself, and we are building confidence that the light that was promised is returning. So it's an absolutely fabulous time of year just for celebrating, for magic, for really immersing yourself in the season and what's happening. It's a wonderful, wonderful time of year. I hope this video has been helpful. I'm sorry it's not, like a completely smooth one. I've tried desperately to get this done and filmed and up, and I perhaps wasn't as sort of versed with what I wanted to talk about, because obviously I've been ill and it's been a bit of a rush. So I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful Yule. I hope you managed to avoid the lurgy, and I hope you have a really wonderful time celebrating. Thank you for watching. If it's your first time here and you made it to the end, then thank you. And if you would subscribe to the channel, that would make me so happy. That would be an excellent Yule gift. It only takes a moment and it just helps the channel so much. So thank you for being here. I'll be back soon with another video. Don't forget to check out the Witching Week, which is every Friday at 4 o'clock. And yeah, I will see you soon. So take care for now. Love and blessings. Bye.